Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. This is Ming Chen from Shared Universe Podcast Studio. Down below me, live from James Bob's Secret Stash is.
I'm Mike Zapsik, and I hope you enjoyed the smooth styling jazz of a Shared Universe Podcast Studio.
Wow, that was smooth.
Thank you. I was going for it.
Yeah, I wish you could keep that up 24/7, but that 3 seconds of smooth mic, that's about all you're gonna get. Welcome. This is a very random streaming series that me and Mike have launched to talk to our friends, our supporters, anybody out in the community, anybody doing anything. We're going through a tough time right now. A lot of people have stepped up, and they're doing extraordinary things to help out restaurants, to help out anybody in need. And we want to focus on them, and we want to highlight a lot of our friends and supporters as well, and of which we have right here. He's all over our feed, but if you don't know him, this is John Ross Cocozza, the founder of Ross Brewing. He was also a podcaster. He's the founder and host of the Point Blank podcast. And welcome, John. How are you?
And a friend, Ming. A friend.
Most importantly.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Very, very different take to be podcasting with you during the daytime. We were just commenting before we went on the air with this natural light coming in, something I may want to address going forward. But good to see you guys. It's been a while since I've seen you. Well, I guess it's been exactly 7 days since our last episode of Point Blank. But
very true.
Yeah. So Ross has launched a brewery called Ross Brewing, appropriately enough, and we just wanted to find out how you were doing because. Sure. We're in a pretty tough time right now, and you threw a great launch party. Was that January or December? I can't even.
December. Yep.
It was in December.
Yeah.
Yep. It went great. Your canned beers are being distributed all around New York State right now, soon to be New Jersey, and just when you were getting a lot of momentum, this happened. We were trying to find out, but first and foremost, how are you? How are you doing? How are you staying busy? And how's the brewery?
So first of all, thanks for asking. And your setup is very accurate. We were doing great. We had about 3 months of sales under our belt, with each successive month growing, adding more accounts and doing more sales each month. And this whole Corona crisis just put the brakes right on that. Now we are still selling. But sales have dropped precipitously because many of our customers, specifically the bars and restaurants, have been forced to either shut their doors or operate in a much reduced capacity. That's something we all know from having friends in the industry, and they're trying to come up with new ways. So one part of our business, which is the draft business, has almost completely gone on pause.
Right.
The can sales are still working, largely because our customers that were like, say, beer stores or supermarkets that can carry beer, things like that, they're still ordering. Matter of fact, strangely, last week, our single biggest order for one customer in one day went through, which was a landmark for us. It's not a huge number, but one customer took 10 cases of something, which, when we first started, which again was only 3 months ago, we were doing a lot of 1 and 2 case orders. They would sell through that right away. They would realize, wow, this beer is moving. So then on their reorders, they do maybe 2 or 3 or 4 cases. And then we start to see those creep up, 5, 6, 7 case orders. And that's when all this went on. But a particular store, which, we'll mention them, it's Holiday Beverage over in Staten Island, New York. They just put a reorder in. They said they're still moving and the beer's moving great. So they said, can we put a 10 case order in? And we said, we definitely can fulfill that. So hopefully we'll be able to pick up the momentum. The other aspect that was slowed down by this quarantine, this shelter in place order, is our physical brewery. Now, our physical brewery is going to be opening this year within Monmouth County, New Jersey, at a location that some of you guys may know. But what happened was our construction was ordered to a halt.
Yes.
It was deemed non-essential. There are some construction projects that are deemed essential. I don't know who makes a decision that brewery construction is non-essential. I think it should be. But so we're temporarily on hold. So our plans to open for the beginning of the summer, really we were keying in on, can we get a Memorial Day opening? That would just be great. That's definitely gone. Now it's, can we even get physically open by the end of the summer? So, my contractors who are desperate to get to work themselves, they want to, they've assured us, hey, listen, we're taking this time to kind of go over what we had to do, streamline it, coordinate with each other better, things that we don't ordinarily wouldn't have time to do if they jumped right into it. For example, they said, so we think that when we do get the green light again, the actual time that we're going to be building is going to be shorter. So from 3 months, get the project down to 2 months, Okay. So still allowing for a month of inspections and test brews and all this other crazy stuff that has to happen. But in any event, my point is, yeah, we've been affected, but definitely not affected as bad as some. We've been fortunate in that respect. If we had the place open and we were paying rent every month and couldn't have people there, which of course many of our friends in the industry are going through right now, we'd be in a worse spot. So we're working with the banks. We're working with our creditors. We're working with our customers as well. Some of them have come to us and said, "Look, we just can't get you what we owe you. Can we get you something?" And depending on the situation, in some cases we've said, "You know what? Don't get us anything at all right now. Just hold on to it. Use it to pay your team members, to keep them employed. Whatever it is you have to do, pay your bills, and we're here to work with you." One of the things we've been pitching, before all this, when we're working with our customers up in New York, we'll be doing the same with our customers in New Jersey, is we have no distributor. We sell directly to bars, restaurants, liquor stores, supermarkets. So we say, well, the benefit there is you're going to pay the same price you would to a distributor, but instead you're dealing directly with us.
Right.
So we can give you a little bit more personalized service. Tell us what you're looking for. What are your customers telling you? We're taking that feedback in. And part of working with them is exactly this. So when they're telling us they're having a hard time paying their bills, we said, don't worry about it. We're going to be here for the long haul, and we're going to cut you a break here. And wherever we have the opportunity to do that, we are. So that's how it's affecting us so far.
Wow. So that would be like Mike Zapcic driving comic books directly to his customers. Like, imagine that. Imagine.
Mike,
I have done that.
Is that a service you're offering right now?
The comic book mobile, yes. I got it going around.
He has done that, and I saw you picked up a new spot in Tarrytown, New York, very recently. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the bananas part. Even during this quarantine, we've actually been able to open a few new customers. Normally, here's a little inside baseball or inside brewery knowledge. When you're getting a new customer, you're going there, you're making a presentation, you're giving samples, you're taking them through what your beers are about, what your brand is about. Is there a resonation, between the two of you? And then they're going to decide whether to move forward or not. Well, obviously we've had to change that approach during the quarantine. But that said, we are opening new customers. We just opened our newest one, as you said. Doesn't sound sexy when you first say it, okay? It's a 7-Eleven. But I have to tell you, we've been there. This is one of the top 3 or 4 craft beer selections I've ever seen. It's the 7-Eleven in Tarrytown, New York. Tarrytown, beautiful town, right on the Hudson, right above the Bronx. Right on the other side of the bridge from New Jersey, the Tappan Zee, which I believe is now called the Mario Cuomo Bridge. It's just a beautiful town. And correspondingly, this 7-Eleven is a little bit nicer than the one we have here in Little Silver. And it's an amazing craft beer selection. So we said, how can we be part of this selection? Because it's almost intimidating, some of the great brands they have there. And they've got great local brands from New York and New Jersey, but also from around the country, and not just the big distributor ones. Beers that we love, by the way, like Founders and Stone.
Sure.
They've got things like from the brewery out in California, and I mean literally, it's the brewery. I'm not just saying like, oh, that brewery in California that I don't remember.
It's the brewery.
Yeah, Old Nation Brewing. I think they're out in Michigan, so they've got good stuff. And so, they did get the samples, and they came back to us and they said, to start off, we'd like to carry all 3 of the beers that you have available, and that really made us feel good.
That's amazing. So I think the big question for us and for anybody here, I know you're working on New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
getting the beers in New Jersey. Has this situation set that back at all?
So that's a really, really good question because we've had so many setbacks already. I don't know that we could bear another one on that front. Obviously, understanding setbacks with construction, that's a different story because of a quarantine. So, in fact, I want to say the optimistic part of me wants to say it may actually be helping. And here's what I mean.
Okay.
We got an email back from Trenton. Trenton being our state capital, where the state alcohol and beverage control licensing board is, saying, listen, we've got your application. We've had it for months and we've been backlogged for months and we couldn't look at it for a long time. Then when we looked at it, we said you have to make all these changes, and we did all that, and that's all last year. So now they got back to us with this email just about a week or two ago and said, hey, we are finally up to your application again. Meaning the license, we were on hold for a month or so, but we're back processing licenses again. Looks like you've submitted everything that we asked you to. We're doing a final check, and we may be able to issue you a temporary certificate, within a month. And temporary means it's good to go. Matter of fact, almost every brewery in this state is operating under a temporary certificate.
Okay.
It's a technical thing where they never close the process, so they can always be continuously auditing your application and stuff like that. But in any event, they said that it looks like they thought they had everything we needed. So we certainly hope so, because we've submitted everything. Matter of fact, we've submitted things multiple times. So I think we may have some good news there. I don't know if it's going to be before the quarantine ends. That would be great, because then we would be going. Maybe we'll get Mike in the comic mobile door to door here in Monmouth County. Certainly, we would define what our delivery area is, but for consumers, we'd be able to give it right to them, as well as, most importantly, to our retail partners. All of the amazing, bars, restaurants, liquor stores, beer stores, supermarkets. So we've got a number of people that have asked, hey, when you come here locally, can we be your first customer? Val's Tavern in Rumson, or Jamien's, of course, in Red Bank. That's right. Jamien, a friend of you guys as well, and probably my top favorite.
Jamien?
One of my favorite spots to hang out at. In Red Bank, it's my favorite spot. But I think the first customer is probably going to be my friend Bill Kenny over at the Little Silver Bottle Shop.
Oh yeah, of which I was over there 2 days ago picking
exactly.
up. It's an amazing place. It's an oasis of craft beer in this area for sure.
Yeah, I have a theory, John.
What's that, Mike?
I don't know if you'll subscribe to it. You'll be like, yes, no, maybe so. But I have a theory that the reason for the rise of your beer, your sales going up, is because you're getting rid of the punk ass bitches of the beer world, such as, I don't know, Budweiser. They're selling out. They do.
Yeah.
The less discerning, taste buds of
for sure
your average everyday drunk in Monmouth County. So right. The people who would normally say, maybe I'll grab a 6-pack of Bud. I'm sorry, sir. We're all out. We're all out of everybody. Well, let me try that Ross Brewing. That looks interesting.
Can that still get me drunk? Yeah.
You have any Everclear? No Everclear. I'll take that Ross. No. It gives them a chance to spend their money on something a little bit different, rather than clogged up with Miller and Budweiser. And I was going to say, does Old Navy make a beer?
Old Navy?
Old Navy beer?
Like the clothing store, like the $5 flip-flops?
They should. Like that old lady who was...
and there's a slightly nicer one called Gap Beer, and then at the high end you have the Banana Republic beer.
But, very nice, yes.
Mike, there may be something to your theory. I still am having routine calls with my customers. I had one this morning. It's a chain called Craft and Carry. I use the term chain loosely. They just opened their 4th store. So they're an emerging chain, you can say. They've got 3 in Manhattan, 1 in Brooklyn. They're about to open a few more in some of the other boroughs. And then they're looking to expand into Hoboken and Jersey City as well. But in any event, They've got a nice concept. You can go in, you can pick out any can from an amazing selection. You can enjoy it on site, with a glass at a bar, watching TV, or you can take it to go. Either way. So in any event, we're just doing a sort of bi-weekly touch base as we do with them. And what they were saying is Corona, the brand, has been like really pushing them to take some beer in. And they said, you're not really aligned with what we do. We're more craft beers, premium beers, some imports, but not Corona. And the Corona rep shared with them, our sales have bottomed out. Chalk it up to, name confusion, brand confusion. But they said they've absolutely been killed during this coronavirus crisis. And they said, we'll essentially give you the beer for free. And in this particular case, that customer still said, even at free, it's too much for us.
Back when I was drinking, I would have been all over that.
Right.
I own a bar.
We had before we had Ross Brewing, we had built, owned, and operated a couple of pubs, a couple of bars, craft beer bars. One here in Monmouth County, Maloney's Pub and Grill in Matawan, New Jersey. It's still there. 10 years later, it's still there. I'm very impressed. No, we're not involved anymore. We opened it in 2008. We had sold it to our partner in 2010. I opened the second pub, the Wild Goose Pub in Staten Island, in 2009. We got out of that in 2012. And the reason we exited both of those is to really go all in on trying to make this brewery idea happen. But in any event, at the Wild Goose, the second of those two, we had a sign out front. 600 beers inside, no Bud Miller Coors Corona. and I think what we did there is we really told people who we were, and that we're not wasting their time, they're not wasting our time. Listen, if you want to try a whole bunch of different beers, this is the spot. If you're looking for, the Miller Lite or what have you, try one of the 80 other spots on this, block. But not
plenty of old man bars over there.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. So you guys were kind of at the forefront of that. He's like, man, we ain't got any of that crappy beer here. We got good beer here. We have curated beer here. We care about our beer here, which is amazing. And Maloney's very well known right now. But I believe I believe you laid down the foundation.
For sure. That's that concept there is something I started working on in 2007. I had a friend that had the building. He had a number of tenants come in and out, mostly Italian restaurants, and they weren't making it. And they were lasting 3, 4, 5, 6 months. He said, well, what should I do? Should I just sell this building? And I said, no, I've got an idea. Why don't we do it together? That way you don't need a tenant. We're going to be the tenant ourselves. And we came up with an arrangement, and I had, reams of documents of, concepts I had sketched out, in terms of like the beer club, pairing it with food, having each menu on the item be made with a different type of beer that we were also selling, just a whole bunch of different ideas. And he loved it. So we went forward with that, and we had a good partnership for about a year, a rougher partnership for the second year. And then that's when I said, listen, I want to do this same concept on my own. Can we negotiate maybe some sort of buyout? And I was very cordial. In fact, when I was opening the Wild Goose, due to like some mishap with the restaurant supply, our French fryers, our oil fryers didn't get delivered, and we were supposed to open. And so, my partner from Maloney's, but at that point, my former partner, he said, he goes, I've got 3 fryers, take one until yours arrive. Wow. So, but then we did kind of engage in a little bit of a Cold War. When we opened Maloney's, we had 32 taps. When I opened the Goose, I had 48 taps. Then at at Maloney's, he went up to 72 taps.
Right.
We went up to 84 at the Goose. When he went to 120 at Maloney's, we tapped out. We said, okay, we
tapped out.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Good call.
Tapped out.
There's also. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I mean, how do you keep all those lines straight? And I mean, come on.
Exactly. There's a point of diminishing returns. If your volume's not there, could you be, is all the beer moving? You want to keep it fresh. You want to have the right beers on. So listen, there's a formula that works for everybody. I think there's a place down in Atlantic City, Firewaters in Tropicana. They've got something like 101 taps. So, there's ways you can make it work or not work. We've got a couple of good customers right now over in Staten Island at Tommy's Tap and Tavern. Of course, they're right here in Seabright. They've got one in Freehold, Edison, Princeton coming. They're all over our selling area. and they're good friends, and they've got a good mix. They seem to keep it working with about 40 taps, in terms of the right amount of new beer, fresh beer, and to keep it moving.
For sure.
That's enough to keep straight. So.
Right.
This has nothing to do with beer, but our friend Mo Youssef say, Mike, do you guys have Walking Dead #1? And I guess he's looking to make some kind of investment right now. And
Mo, I don't have a first print. I've got trade paperbacks. If you want to read it, I absolutely do. But I am at low ebb for my wall books. So until I can actually do face-to-face with people and make them an offer for books, I unfortunately don't. But I'll keep my eyes open for you, Mo.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
I love it. So I just want to show everybody the beer lineup here. Currently, we had 6 on tap, I believe, at the launch party, correct?
We did. We had our core 5 that we're launching with, which is our Navasink Double IPA, our Shrewsbury Amber Lager, our Passaic Honey Vanilla Porter, our Manasquan Belgian Wit Beer, and our Raritan Red Rye. The 6th beer we had that day is we also did a blackberry variant on the Manasquan Wit Beer, and if you remember, that was very popular, man.
It was.
That ran out. That was so popular, it ran out. Everyone's like, I want the blueberry. And just they're throwing names at me, and I'm got my cheat sheet. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? I said, point to the one you want.
Well, we're actually coming out with another beer soon. It's going to be a limited run beer. It's not going to be part of our core lineup. It's a beer that, in a obtuse way, we spoke about this on Point Blank, and what it is the All Together beer. So what is this? All Together beer was an idea. The concept was put together by a few breweries, most notably Other Half Brewing in Brooklyn, where they've kind of come up with this base recipe. And all breweries that want to participate, it's an open source approach. Oh, here we go, man. It's an open source approach because you can take this recipe that's published here, and certainly you could put your twist on it. There's basically, it's an IPA. There's 2 sort of variants. We can do a West Coast traditional, not traditional, but a West Coast IPA in the mode of if people grew up drinking IPAs in the 2000s, it would be like Stone or Ballast Point or Lagunitas or Green Flash. And that is exactly, by the way, what our core Navasink 7.8% double IPA is. It's a West Coast IPA. I didn't want to go with the Northeast New England hazy IPA craze because, well, I certainly love to drink those beers. I don't know the staying power, and I didn't want to make that my flagship. But on this All Together beer, there's 2 variants, as I said. There's the West Coast IPA, and there is that hazy NE IPA. And that's the version we're doing. So what is All Together? The proceeds from this are being donated to those hospitality industry personnel. So whether you're at a restaurant or a bar, or maybe you're a brewery taproom employee, your brewery could be open, but the taproom's closed right now, right? So there's still hospitality employees that are out of work. And so there's a number of different funds that have been set up to benefit these employees. Okay, sure, maybe they're able to get unemployment. Maybe they're not. Some cases you're not. You might have had a cash arrangement. Now you don't qualify for unemployment. So in any case, we are doing our take on this beer as well. And, putting, as I said, there's some opportunities to put a Ross twist on it. And the interesting part about it is the front of these cans all look identical, as Ming shows on the screen here. And then the back is where you would put your brewery's spin on it. And we've commissioned some really great artwork of some friends of ours in the industry, and they're going to get their portraits on the cans, showing, hey, these are the people that we're doing this for. These aren't just, names without a face. Here's the faces that go with it. So we're hoping to have that ready in about 4 weeks from now. Yep.
Oh, okay, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a nice turnaround.
Well, go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, I mean that leads me to ask the actual brewing process. I know you're contract brewing right now. I can't remember where is it, Icarus or?
We're using our good friends over at Cypress Brewing.
Cypress.
We use their facilities. They have top-notch facilities. When we were deciding which brewery to use to do our contract brewing at, one of the main criteria is, well, do we like the beers that they're putting out?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we tried it a few different places, and it clicks the best for us there too. I'll be honest. We backed into this. We kind of lucked into this, but them being in Edison, New Jersey, We found a refrigerated warehouse space that we're renting, which is right there in Edison as well.
Amazing.
It makes our distribution into New York all the easier because it's right over the outer bridge. So
yeah, for sure. Have there been any interruptions in, say, supply chain, or just getting materials, raw materials, hops, grains, anything that goes into the brewing process? Has that been interrupted at all? Have you been set back?
Great question. To be honest, no, there hasn't been. I imagine there's been a reduction nationwide in the amount of brewing. Think of all the breweries that don't do distribution, that maybe only sell on site or only do draft, didn't have canning or bottling. So all of that's been way tamped down. So to be honest, any ingredients we've needed, we haven't had a problem getting. The only sort of service disruption, if you will, and it's been very minor. And as I said, it's not like the orders have mandated that we needed. Our refrigerated warehouse that we use in Edison, Fond du Lac, they're able to do deliveries for us throughout, well, not that we're utilizing them, but their territory includes all of New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania, New York City, Long Island, and Westchester. So essentially our core area, right? And all that's happened is during this time, they've reduced from being able to do deliveries 5 days a week to being able to do them 3 days a week.
Okay.
Which for us has been more than sufficient. Well, normally when a client places an order, we tell them, hey, if it's by 3 p.m., you'll get it tomorrow. If it's after 3, it's in 2 days. So even now we're just saying, look, you're either going to get it in 1 or 2 days. And as much as I like to think our product is a commodity people can't live without, they're able to wait 2 days.
Right on. So I know a lot of the operating breweries right now, you can either go, they're doing curbside pickup. You can do takeout, places like Asbury Park Brewery, Kane, Carton. Like you said, their on-site sales have pretty much been decimated right now. I imagine they're not moving a lot of kegs right now, but their cans, bottles, even Kane's doing special releases, which is good. Is that the best way to support these guys right now? Is just to go over and grab it, whatever you can within your means? And
I would say, depending on what your goal is, that's definitely a great idea. For those breweries that are able to do pickups, some are even able to do door-to-door residential delivery, depending on their license. Yeah, we can't do that right now. Once our physical brewery opens, we would be able to do that. But then again, that privilege will go away once the crisis is passed, right? But you can definitely support the brewery directly there. One way you may be able to support multiple people with one single purchase is go to your Little Silver Bottle Shop, go to your Jamian's or your Tommy's or your Woody's and Seabright or your Val's and Rumson, because they're purchasing the beer from the brewery. So that helps the brewery, and you're also helping the restaurant or the bar or the bottle shop employees, earn revenue too. So I think, you look at the whole distribution chain. We are mandated in New Jersey what's called the so-called 3-tier level. There has to be production, distribution, and retail. And so, any opportunity you have to consume the beer that you like, or in some cases that you love, and if you can help multiple people at the same time, go ahead and go out and do that.
Yeah, right on. And I mean, I gotta say my beer/alcohol consumption has definitely gone up during this. It's home more. It's readily available. Prior, maybe it's frowned upon to drink at work, but if you're working at home, I think those lines are a little more blurred than usual.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right.
And I urge, if you are a beer drinker, if if there's something you love, pick up an extra case, pick up a few cans, support them so they can keep going when this is all over. And when this is all over, we're having one hell of a party for sure.
Yeah, and craft beer makes a phenomenal gift for somebody. If you're just thinking about somebody, even me who doesn't drink, I can go out and buy a friend. Hey, Ming, here's a case of beer.
That's a great call, Mike. Thank you for bringing that up. And for those that aren't able to buy the case, many of the breweries themselves, as well as, of course, their retail partners, they'll sell it down to a 6-pack or a 4-pack. Some of our customers that we're working with, they're letting customers mix and match and build their own 4-packs and build their own 6-packs. So, one 6-pack or 4-pack purchase, you could be supporting 2 or 3 different breweries if that's what you wanted to do. Of course, we're pushing them to do a Ross mixed 4-pack, but that's fine. On our website, the Ross Brewing website, we have a beer finder that people can go to the map. It's an interactive Google map. You can drag it, you can zoom, etc. And we tell them these are the places where we're available on site. Oh, Ming, it's like on demand here, Ming. This is great. So if you zoom in there on the map, you'll see some of the icons are for on-site consumption only. Some are can purchase for takeaway. And then, of course, some you're allowed to do both. Now, for many of those that don't have canned purchase takeaway, they are doing deliveries. So feel free, use the beer finder, reach out to some of our customers, find out if you're in their delivery area. I've been surprised. Some of them are delivering far further than I would have thought. And the way they explained to me is, well, look, we have staff that, come an hour to come here. So on their way out, we give them some deliveries that are going in their direction.
Yeah.
So even if they're not within just a few blocks, you can go a little bit further than that. And many breweries, are doing that.
Yeah. And, if you're not a drinker or, you might have enough beer, a lot of these breweries have amazing merchandise, which we are demonstrating here. These Ross Legacy hats are some of the best I've ever worn. I'm not just saying that. I'm very particular about my headwear. And so is Mike. And these Ross Legacy brand hats are amazing. And I'm thinking you have a nice supply of them, which can be mailed out immediately. The mail is still up and running. The merch is still up and running. And I
appreciate you saying that, Ming. Yeah, we do. We've got we've got our hats up there. We started out with just the original, the gray and the blue trucker hats. We added the wax hats, which I think I'm modeling now, but Mike has worn that before on Point Blank as well. And then we've got the Carhartt and North Face brand, knit beanies. Okay, so we're entering the time of year where people probably aren't buying knit beanies as much, but in the winter we definitely moved quite a few of those. I actually just did a run over to the Little Silver Post Office yesterday for quite a few orders. I think I had like 4 orders going out.
Nice.
2 here in New Jersey, 1 to Pennsylvania, and 1 to, I think it was South Dakota. So somebody probably saw, maybe they're fans of you guys, and that introduced them over to the Point Blank podcast, and they saw us, and so they placed an order for a hat. So there's someone in South Dakota is going to be wearing a Ross Brewing hat. So let's love it, man.
Is it Al Swearingen?
Al Swearingen, you make it.
Deadwood, South Dakota, possibly, yeah. Yeah.
Cock-sucking hat. Oh, pardon me.
Cork sucker.
Cork-sucking hat.
Swidgy.
And speaking of the Point Blank podcast, Point Blank podcast streams live every Wednesday at 8:30 ish. Until
8:30.
Great way to put it.
Yeah, until we decide to end it. And I definitely recommend you tune into that. Pop culture, entertainment, games. Ming Chen, Mike Zapsik. Tonight at 8:30 Eastern time, we are featuring special guest Brian O'Halloran. Who is supposed to be here today, from what I hear. Dante from Clerks. And tune in every Wednesday. We've been doing it remotely, and we've been on a very once a week consistent schedule, which is pretty awesome.
It's amazing. And John, I just have to ask about Brian. Did you owe him money? Is this payback? Is that what happened?
He said anything he can do that would allow him to torture Mike Z. I said,
beautiful. Right here. I love Brian. I love busting his balls. He is the only person who, aside from me, came closest to getting into a physical confrontation with someone we all know and love.
He who shall not be named, and we don't mean Voldemort.
No.
Brian, of course, you guys remember back in December, he, along with the two of you, and the Walking Dead's Ross Marquand, Brian was one of our guest beer tenders at the launch party, and he was really, really cool about it. And he said, "Look, when you do the grand opening at the location down by you guys near Red Bank, he goes, I want to be there." So we just been keeping in touch. And I said, "Look, now that we're on a more regular schedule for Point Blank than we ever have been before, thanks to the quarantine, would you want to come by? And we bounced some dates around, and I think he was doing, Ming, he had a one of these virtual conventions
Yes.
so he was doing some prep work for that, and that prevented him, I think, the last couple of weeks. He was also doing a live read of a theatrical production.
Yes.
Yeah, so he had some rehearsals for that as well, and we put this date out there, and yeah, so we're gonna make it happen. It should be a lot of fun. We're gonna have a couple of fun games as we do each week, and we're certainly gonna hold his feet to the fire on any number of issues.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Everybody, if you're tuning into this, tune in tonight at 8:30 for sure for more shenanigans. Yeah, I don't know if I missed anything. Let me know. But yeah, thank you for jumping up with us.
I think we have 3 hours tonight, Ming, to
do
hit anything we didn't hit right now.
We do. And check out.
I hope not 3 hours, Mike.
So Christopher here says, where can I find the podcast? It'll be streaming on Facebook, where you're watching now, and we usually I'll probably put it on possibly YouTube and Twitch as well. But Chris, wherever you are now, you'll find it here tonight as well. Definitely
beautiful.
Definitely.
And Chris, what I would also say to that is, if you want to listen to any of the previous episodes, I think we're up to episode 48 now. So the first 47, they're all available on the Shared Universe page, on SoundCloud, on Apple Podcasts,
on Spotify. It's everywhere.
Wherever you get your fine feature-length podcasts.
For sure. Well, John, thank you very much for jumping in with us. Always our shenanigans. And
John, you're the man.
We look forward to seeing you tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Yeah, we're going to try to, for now, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, about this time, we're talking to somebody fun. And who knows, the list is growing long. We might have to start expanding that. But thank you for jumping in with us. We just wanted to make sure everything was going well, moving forward.
And let everybody know what's going on with you.
Yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate that opportunity and the platform, guys. Thanks for doing this. And, during all this time, let's all remember, whatever we can all do to help each other, it's going to be better off for everybody.
Well said, my friend.
Very nicely said.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.